Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. Today, we're going to take a look at the catalog of a very cool band from Norway, founded in 2003. The band is called Communic. They are a progressive metal power trio. They have released 6 total albums. Really cool albums, really cool band. If you haven't heard them, I highly recommend you do, especially if you like thrashy power / prog metal with really cool vocals, great guitar work, lengthy songs for the most part, and just a cool kind of melancholy vibe. Not a lot of your kind of stereotypical prog metal soloing and things like that. Just really good songs. I often kind of describe them as a much more prog metal version of Nevermore. Basically because their lead singer and guitar player, Odleif Stensland, his voice sounds a lot like the late Warrell Dane. And the music, again, kind of bridges that gap between thrash metal, prog metal, and power metal, kind of all rolled up into one with sometimes a slight little gothic feel a la Evergrey, right? So the band has been around since 2003, like I mentioned. They've had constant members throughout. You've got Odleif Stensland, like I said, vocals and guitars, Erik Mortensen on bass, and Tor Atle Anderson on drums. So they've got 6 albums. I've got them all. I've got physical copies of 5 of the 6. I'm going to rank them in my order of preference here. So we're going to go, number 6 is actually going to be the one that I don't have, which is 2011's The Bottom Deep. There's the CD cover right there. Okay, 4th album. It's a good one. You know, you got the crushing opener, Facing Tomorrow. Has got some, massive riffing, relentless drumming. I think Stensland's vocals are really venomous on this one. I really like his voice quite a bit. Then again, I love Warrell Dane, so not surprising that I like his vocals so much. You got the moody track Denial, another great vocal performance on that. You got prog and thrash kind of collide on Flood River Blood. You got the varied mixed paste attack of Voyage of Discovery, which has some really killer riffs. Really dig that one a lot. And I like the kind of cleaner guitar tones mixed with the massive crunch on In Silence with My Scars. That's all on the plus side. On the minus side, I'm not so crazy about My Fallen. It's kind of unmemorable. You got Destroyer of Bloodlines, which is kind of manic thrash, but somewhat generic sounding, but not too bad. A Wayward Soul is kind of moody and mid-paced, maybe a little longer than it needs to be. The Bottom Deep, right? The title track, kind of mellow, kind of boring to my ears. And the song Hurt also doesn't move me much. Plus, you've got like a pointless cover of Overkill's In Union We Stand, which I would have rather heard another original song. This is not like a covers type band, right? So I'm kind of unsure why they threw that in there. To me, this is easily their weakest album of the 6th, but it still has a few very strong songs. But I think for me, for the first time in their entire catalog, you got a handful of somewhat weak, just kind of uninteresting tracks, and there's a bit too many songs on here. This album is a little too long for me. I don't mind, most of their albums have anywhere from 6 to 8 tracks, but each track is like 6 to 8, 9, 10 minutes long. Here we've got some shorter tracks, some longer tracks, just too many tracks in total. Plus, I think the cover is kind of like useless here. So number 5. We're going to go to 2020's, their 6th and most recent album, Hiding from the World. All right, this is on AFM Records. They've had 3 record labels since they came out: Nuclear Blast, Locomotive, and AFM. Songs to be a little bit more straightforward metal on this one. This album seems to lack the intensity and complexity of what was on their prior album, which is Where Echoes Gather, which we'll talk about in a minute. Like Hiding from the World, near 10 minutes long. Overly brooding, never really gets out of first gear. Not nuts about that. But you got Facing the Crowd, which totally pummels. My Temple of Pride's got some nice kind of latter period Sabotage style riffing. You got the intricate, the epic, quite proggy, Born Without a Heart. Scavengers Await, totally raging. Really love that song. I think overall there's some strong songs on here, but it's pretty inconsistent, and I'm not really digging the production all that much, which to my ears is a little less dynamic than other releases. But all in all, solid album. I think Erik Mortensen's bass playing on the album, however, is just spectacular. And he's really high in the mix, which, when you have like a power trio, I think it's really important to hear all 3 players really well from the production standpoint. I think he's very up high in the mix, and you hear him all throughout the album, which I really like quite a bit. So that's my number 5. Number 4, we're going to go to their third album from 2008, Payment of Existence. Okay, the band here moved from Nuclear Blast to the now defunct Locomotive Records, right? They are no more. Jacob Hansen, again, producing. He produced their first bunch of albums and did a fine job. Once again, dark and moody material. Lots of long songs. Don't mind that at all. On Ancient Ground kicks off the album in grand fashion. Oddleif's vocals still sounding a lot like Worldane, right? Again, it fits the music quite well. You get the fast pace, The Abandoned One. It's got some killer drums from Anderson. Becoming of Man, big, brooding headbanger. Love that. Payment of Existence, the title track, is just got this really nice dark tone. Loads of big riffs. Loads of soaring vocals. Lots of blazing lead guitars. Really everything I love about this band on that song right there. Through the Labyrinth of Years, some terrific riffing on that one. Raven's Cry is cool, kind of moody. And then you got the kind of prog metal slash thrash of the lengthy closer, Stone Carved Eyes, which is another great song. I mean, this is a really strong album. Maybe not quite up to par with the first 2 albums, right? Which you'll hear about coming up. But I think it's definitely a strong album in their catalog. And so from there we go. I mean, the top 3, to me, there is a little bit of a divide between my top 3 and the bottom 3. There's plenty to love on the bottom 3. However, the top 3 albums for me are kind of untouchable. They're just absolutely outstanding. So, and hard to rank my top 3 because I love them all almost equally, but there's probably just a hint, an extra song or 2 that I like a little bit more on one versus the other, right? Whatever. Number 3 is Where Eagles Dare. Where Echoes Gather from 2017, their 5th album. So this one came, and again, this is AFM Records. This came 6 years after The Bottom Deep. All right, so this is like the biggest gap in their catalog. Like I said, this is their first album with AFM Records. Opens up with the 2 multi-part prog metal suites. Love that. The Pulse of the Earth is the first one. The second one is Where Echoes Gather, title track. You also get another multi-part suite at the back end of the album with Claws of the Sea. This is probably their most prog metal album, most epic sounding album. All 3 of those lengthy pieces are great. You got the also kind of long track called Moon Dance, which to me sounds like, if you can imagine, vintage Candlemass meets vintage Queensryche. Very cool stuff. Where History Lives, total progressive thrash, total rager, and the Black Flag of Hate crushes like vintage Nevermore. This could have easily been my number 1. This is a great album. I remember when this first came out, it was, again, it was after many years, and I was like, holy cow, this is such a cool album. All right. My top 2, again, both of these are amazing albums. I'm going to go with their debut from 2005, Conspiracy in Mind, Nuclear Blast Records. You know, right off the bat, they hit you with the title track, and you notice first thing how similar vocalist, guitarist Audley Stensland sounds to Worldane of Nevermore and Sanctuary, right? But it just, again, it fits with the music so well. And, you know, the music's got that kind of chugging thrash meets prog metal. Jacob Hansen's production is spot on throughout. You know, most of the songs are pretty lengthy. History Reversed, nice and melodic. It's still heavy. You get the moody, near 10-minute They Feed on Our Fear. Great slow builder with some tremendous heavy sections through the midway point. Killer riffs. The riffs in the song remind me of And Justice for All era Metallica. If you like that kind of big, epic, doomy riffing type of thing, that's what you get here. Doomy, thrashy type of thing. Communication Sublime, totally crushing. Sounds like a long-lost Nevermore track. You got the textured and quite progressive The Distance. Lead guitars and big booming riffs all over the place on Ocean Bed. You got the 11-minute epic Silence Surrounds, which features some great rhythms from drummer Tori Allen Anderson and bassist Eric Mortensen. And then, Stensland just delivers massive riffs throughout the song. He's got those haunting vocals. It's a tremendous album, tremendous debut. Anybody wanted to rank this number 1, I couldn't argue that one bit. Like I said, my top 3, any one of them could be my number 1. My number 1, however, is the one that I think impacted me the most when it first came out, and that is their second album, Waves of Visual Decay from 2006. First of all, it's got that crazy cover, which was very indicative of a lot of prog metal and power metal and thrash metal stuff that was coming out around, the early, mid-2000s. Here we got thrash, prog, groove metal. The influence of Nevermore is all over this album. There's a little bit of power metal, like kind of epic power metal sounds, kind of like Iced Earth on this album as well. You got Jacob Hansen once again producing. Under a Luminous Sky is the pulverizing opener. Man, what a killer vocal from Stensland on this one. You got Frozen Asleep in the Park is melodic yet totally heavy. And it's kind of long. Blazing lead guitars, big riffs, acrobatic drums. You got Watching It All Disappear is moody, symphonic prog metal. You got nice little use of keyboards and synthesizers in that one, which you do hear from time to time in their albums. You got the moody symphonic prog number, Watching It All Disappear. I think I just mentioned that. Fooled by the Serpent. Okay, one of my favorite Communic songs of all time. It's just absolutely great. Again, it blends big bombastic prog metal with thrash, with power metal. Awesome stuff. The Brooding title track is another great one. My Bleeding Victim is just manic and thrashy, just total crushing heavy metal. Wild riffing, nice effective use of synths, like I mentioned. And then you get the near 10-minute closer, which is at Dewey Prime, which is just absolutely spectacular. Effective use of synthesizers, moody arrangements, ultra heavy progressive metal. Just an absolute killer album. It's a great sounding album too. So I would, for those of you watching, I would say easily, if you have not checked out Communic and you're looking for a entry point here, easily any of these three albums is my recommendation to start with. Okay, not that the other three aren't really, really strong as well, but these three to me are head and shoulders their best albums. So go check them out. If you haven't heard Communic, one of Norway's greatest metal bands going today, and I highly recommend them a lot. So if you are a fan, rank them as you like them down in the comments below. If you've never heard them, go check them out and come back and report and let us know what you think. That's the important thing. So thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Stay tuned for more stuff coming up here on the channel. We've got coming up this week, the programming this week. This is In the Prague Seat and UK Connection Week. So In the Prague Seat, we will be here on Tuesday night, dissecting and studying an album, a legendary Prague album, a favorite of many, Camel's Mirage. That is the album study we're going to be doing this week. And then over on the UK Connection on Saturday, we will be ranking the songs on a classic album. That classic album is 1984's Wasp self-titled debut. I know when I announced that we were doing this, so many people were like, "But Pete, I thought you didn't like Wasp." It's like, guys, I never said I didn't like Wasp. I said I'm kind of indifferent to Wasp. I liked Wasp quite a bit back in the day, but I just really haven't listened to them in like 30 plus years. And remember, when we rank these classic albums on the UK Connection, there's nothing saying that all three of us need to like the albums that we are ranking the songs of, right? As you've seen, there have been plenty of albums that both Simon and Steven really haven't been crazy about that we have done this with. There have been a couple that I haven't. So whether we like the bands or not, we recognize that many of you guys out there love these albums, right? That's the important thing. Classic albums. So whether we love them or not, that's kind of pointless. But we're going to listen to them or re-listen to them and give you our preference of the ranking. So so that's coming up this week on the channels, along with Martin Popoff, and lots of daily shows with me as well. You're going to get another installment of me showing off my collection. I got a couple other really cool ideas that I'm going to be doing over the next week or two. So you'll have plenty of stuff coming up here on the channel. Also, I do want to remind everybody, there's something I announced on the channel here in the community tab. So for those of you who maybe just watch SOT like on your TV, right? And you don't see all the cool little things on the YouTube desktop console, right? There are these tabs that have show popular videos and videos and about and all this kind of stuff. There's all these tabs, right? So if you go to the community tab, that is generally where I post like announcements of upcoming shows. I post links to stuff I'm doing over on Comic Book Geezers. What I'm going to be doing, this was suggested by a few people, is that, Pete, why don't you somehow post or link to older classic episodes on the channel for people maybe who are new to the channel and haven't watched some, because we've got thousands of videos on the channel, right? So what I'm going to be doing probably each and every day is going and finding a really cool video from the archives and posting the link to it on the community tab, so you can actually go right there. I mean, you can find all these videos yourself if you go to the playlist or just do a search on the channel, but I figure I will go and hand select some of my favorite episodes from years past and put them on each day in the community tab, so you can actually go there each day and see what my kind of like highlighted video from the past from the archives is going to be each day. So make sure you go visit that each and every day, especially on your computer or on, I think, on your phone, your tablet. You can access that as well too, and go check out some of the fun older episodes back from the old days, and revisit either once again or maybe for the first time some cool episodes from SOT's past. So make sure you check that out, and visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together all the damn time. So remember, go check out Communic, right? 6 albums, go enjoy them, and I am Pete Pardo. Let's think, what am I going to say next? Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. Please do hit the like button before you leave as well. And if you'd like to make a channel donation, the link to our Ko-Fi page is down below, as well as our merch page where we have all sorts of cool Sea of Tranquility stuff for sale. So thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo. See you real soon here on the channel. Take care. Bye-bye.